Hi, this is Professor Favors with Career Preparation Lecture. So the title is Personality, Academic, and Job Congruence. And the question is, are you a good fit for your intended career? And this is a very important question because many people get into careers not fully understanding what they are required to do under beyond the typical skill-based transferable skills that they need to utilize within the environment, but they don't understand sometimes the type of work ethic needed, the personality, the tolerance, the patience, the learning beyond the academic environment. And sometimes they take for granted the academic environment because the academic environment is what will prepare you for an understanding of what the workforce requires. So, for example, if your major is accounting and you want to become an accountant, you're going to do a lot of accounting within the academic environment. You take accounting one, two, three, all the way to the intermediate level and then advanced levels. And it's going to give you a clue about what the workforce requires you to do. And so if you are skipping steps and not paying attention and not taking into consideration the work ethic that you need to adopt in within just the academic environment alone, you're going to have real problems when you get to the workforce environment when it requires all of that reconciling of numbers and data and accounting, auditing, going back over your numbers, the tedious, laborious, sometimes boring work that you would have to do within that field. Do you have the personality for it? In addition, you have fields that require licensing, of course, some sort of state licensing, some certification, continuing education, professional development that you have to meet as a requirement of your participation in the workforce. And for certain fields like doctor, lawyer, teacher, there's always some sort of ethics test, um, character integrity test. I know in the finances, the financial fields, you can't have a lot of debt. You can't have a lot of credit card debt. You can have student loan debt, maybe mortgage debt, but you can't have a lot of credit card debt because it says something about your character, and they won't hire you in certain financial fields. So, are you a good fit for your intended career is a very good question that you need to consider as you listen to this career preparations lecture so that you understand that your personality, the academic environment must be congruent with the job itself. So this is career preparation lectures, personality, academic, and job congruence. Are you a good fit for your intended career? So the lectures are based upon Holland's theory of vocational choice, where he's talking about model of person environment fit. And the title of the article, the author of the article rather is Gary Pike, and he's exploring Holland's theory of vocational choice. And he's looking at the psychological, sociological interpretations of students' college expectations and experiences. So the psychology aspect is the personality, and the sociological aspect is the socialization into the field within the major. So the psychological is that personality, whether or not you have the personality to be in the field. The sociological, your participation, your socialization into the major from course to course. So model of person environment fit. So this is Pike's argument. Pike's argument saying there's a relationship between three things within the scholarship work. So students' expectations about college, students' personality types, students' intended academic majors. So there's this expectation about college that if I go to college, I'm going to learn all these different things, and then I'm going to come out, get the job I want, make all the money I want, and be successful. That's sort of like the status quo statement that many of us have made or thought about or pushed or has been pushed on us. But it also depends upon your personality type and your intended academic major. Not every major is going to make a lot of money unless you take the major into the business environment. So if I'm a writer, I'm not going to make a whole lot of money as a writer, even as an author, unless I get myself into a business, marketing, economics, financial mindset to market myself beyond writer mentality. I'm going to have to adopt a business mindset. So that means if I spend all of my time only in writing classes, sure, I can be a success in terms of I can be considered maybe well-renowned author. I could get awards, things like that. But success, if you're looking at the money aspect of it, will be measured on my ability to adopt a business mindset as well. So that means, in addition to my writing classes, in addition to the writing major, I need to take some sort of specialization certificate in business as well. So the expectation about college has to be measured because you're looking at the vision of what you want to become, but you still have to do the planning to get there. And so that's also based upon your personality type. Academic environment typically reinforces and supports students' major choices, perceptions, responses to the environment. Expectations serve as guides to encourage students to select academic majors congruent with their abilities, interests, and personalities. So again, if you understand that if you want to become a doctor, usually people major in pre-med, and so they are part of a cohort program where all the students come in a certain academic year. They all take the same classes, step by step, and they are sort of socialized in the major. The personality aspect of it will determine whether or not you have the work ethic to sit down, to be tolerant with what it is that you have to learn, or are you cheating on your tests. If you're cheating on your tests, then you don't have the conscientiousness, which is a personality type. You don't have the conscientiousness to do the job, to do what is before you at the academic level. So if you're already struggling at the academic level, meaning that you don't want to adopt a learning mindset, what we call a learning goal orientation, where you learn for learning's sake. You don't have an intrinsic motivation where you learn for learning's sake. Where you don't have a growth mindset where if you fail, you adopt a plan to try to learn more. If you don't have those three things in terms of personality within the academic environment, you're going to have a lot of problems when you get to the workforce, because you can't cheat on everything, and eventually you're going to be caught. And there are higher consequences within the workforce environment than the academic environment. You can be expelled, suspended, and still be able to return within the academic environment. But if you are fraudulent or exercising fraudulent behavior within the workforce environment, you could be arrested, charged, convicted. You, you're definitely fired, terminated. And so the consequences are higher. That's why you have to pay attention to what you're doing within your academic major, because if you don't have any excitement to learn within the academic major that you have chosen, that should tell you something. You're going to have problems when you get to the workforce environment. So Holland looks at 6 personality types. This is the first component, which is the person. And so he looks at realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprise, and conventional. Personality types in the psychology literature fall under different categories. These personality types refer primarily to the intended career objective, but you have definitely other different types of personality types that may refer to other contexts. Realistic people tend to value material rewards. They're practical, conservative, persistent. Investigative people tend to prefer exploration, prediction, scholarly achievement, and they avoid persuasion. So these are your sort of like your sciences. Artistic people tend to prefer literary, musical activities, creative, sensitive, non-conforming. So there are the nonconformers. There are the people who are the artists for life. They're gonna die an artist, right? And they're not the conventional people. Social, teach, help others, education, social service, empathetic, avoid tech. So they're not the technical aspects of people. Even though the irony is they have to, in order to push forward their social service programming, there has to be some sort of technical aspects of it. Maybe not information technology technical aspects, but some sort of technical writing, because they have to write reports, they have to write manuals, things like that. So there's some form of tech with that. Enterprising, they persuade, direct others, avoid scientific, intellectual topics, value political. So these are the people that get into they have the business mindset and they get into the mind of the consumer so that they can persuade that consumer to buy their products. And then conventional, maintain orderly routines, avoid unstructured activities, value material, conforming. So these are the people who are predictable. They're going to be predictable. There's nothing that you can change about them. No matter how you try to tell them to take more risks, they like to maintain the orderly routine. So they're the people who will always keep a job. That's not to say that they won't try to pursue some kind of hobby, but they have a job mentality and they will always be on a job. These are also the people, when you think about it, if you were working in a warehouse and you were on a conveyor belt system and you had to pull products and pack them and put them on a conveyor belt and get them down to the end where there's packing slips, things like that. You need the orderly routines of a business, of a system, of an organization, so that you can get your package. If everyone was artistic, if everyone was investigative, if everyone was social, you would never get anything done. The enterprising, you can definitely be enterprising. The enterprising and conventional, they tend to work together, in my head. And so they will get things done. But all of the artistic people, you would never get anything done because they have to be artistic. So these are your personality types. First component, the person. Holland's six model environments. The second component is reward. So you should be rewarded. Your model environment is both the academic environment as well as the workforce environment. And we're going to get into the academic in a minute. But this is where, if you're looking at the model environment in terms of workforce, the realistic person works with a lot of practical activities, tangibles. The investigative works with a lot of analytical and intellectual activities. They do more problem solving. That's why they avoid persuasion. The investigative, they have a hypothesis that they're working out and they're going to test it out and then come up with the data and give you the reporting of the data, and they're not trying to persuade you. They're suggesting, when they create the discussion part of their article, that they have solved a problem. Then artistic, they tend to be creative again, lack structure, musical accomplishments, social, working with others, sociability, humanitarianism. So that's what they are known for. Enterprising, attaining personal organizational goals, leadership, self-confidence. And leadership is your main task. So if you're going back to the expectation that I'm going to go to college and I'm going to learn this stuff and I'm going to come out and make more, and I'm going to get the job and make more money, well, that's predicated on your personality, and your personality being enterprising and leading up to leadership. And of course, self-confidence, right? If you wanted to add that in there, that the leadership is what will move you forward into success. And then conventional, attaining personal organizational goals through predictable standards. So that is achieved. Companies are more successful because of their conventional aspects, not just because of their enterprising. Then the academic discipline as one of the model environments. So the previous model environment is usually the workforce. This is now your academic environment, and that is determined by the major you choose. So realistic, usually these are electrical engineering students, mechanical engineering, probably computer engineering. Investigative, biological, physical sciences, mathematics, economics, sociology. Artistic, art, music, drama, social, history, philosophy, psychology, social work. Teaching is part of that as well. Enterprising, business administration, management, journalism, and then conventional accounting, data processing, secretarial studies. So these are the majors that you would choose that would represent the model environment. And what you do in this major will determine what you do in the workforce environment. So interaction, congruence between personality types and environment. So self-reflection, socialization, and congruence. And so remember that the socialization is the sociology aspect of what Pike is discussing. And then the self-reflection is the personality or the psychological aspect of it. So students seek out and select majors compatible with personality type. Academic majors reinforce, reward student abilities and interests. And then congruence. Students are more likely to flourish in environments that are congruent with their personality types. Person environment congruence are related to gains in student learning. So the more that your personality is congruent with the immediate environment, especially the academic environment, is going to be a testament to what your person environment congruence would do in the workforce environment. It's just going to make more sense. Again, if you're bored and angry and mad that you have to do math problems, and then you're saying that you want to become a mathematics teacher, there's some incongruence there because you're not even happy within the academic major itself. And then now you want to move yourself into the workforce environment and become a teacher or become a mathematician for an organization, but you hate the math that you're doing now within the academic environment. That's a problem. And that's something that you want to think about. So key points on expectations. Expectations reveal students' views about the future, i.e. looking ahead. Students use expectations to process information and make decisions. Academic environment typically reinforces support students' major choices. Expectations are dynamic. Students gather additional information and alter choices. Expectations influence students' perceptions of academic environment and response to environment. And then expectations serve as guides to encourage students to select academic majors congruent with their abilities, interests, and personalities. And you'll know if you have the ability, you'll know if you have the interest, you'll know if you have the personality, because you'll be talking about it. It's hard not to talk about something that you have a passion for, that you have a love for, that you care about, that you want everyone to know that it is something that you're interested in. It's like a relationship, a romantic relationship. As soon as you get to know your boyfriend or girlfriend, you're talking about that person to everybody. Well, this is really no different. Your major and your intended career objective really is no different, because you should talk about the thing that you care about, that you love, that you have a strong ability in, that you have a personality for. So if we're looking at gender in terms of expectations, gender is significantly related to students' college expectations. So there's a different way that both genders perceive their majors, essentially. So females had significantly lower expectations of being involved in science and mathematics than did males. They had significant higher expectations of interacting with diverse acquaintances and being involved in clubs and organizations. So they were more social in this regard. Students whose intended major fell under investigative disciplines, for example, had higher expectations of being involved in science and math than did students intending to major in other types of disciplines. So that makes sense that if you're going to be a biology major, you would think that you would spend more time in the biology lab. If you're not spending time in the biology lab, why choose that major? It's the same thing that you could say about, okay, I want to learn Spanish. And that means I'm spending more time speaking Spanish or practicing Spanish. And I'm watching Spanish shows, and I'm listening to Spanish audio tapes. I'm doing everything to involve myself in the major. Then personality type and intended major are related to students' college expectations. So implications for further research: practitioners should use information about students' personality types and academic majors to create programs that help students develop realistic expectations about college. Realistic expectations is very important, because that's why people a lot of times drop out of school, because the process is too slow for them and they want to make money now. And wherever you go, even if you get off the path of school and you get on the path of something else, some sort of business thing that you want to do, some venture, you're still going to have to learn, and you're still going to have realistic expectations of that field. Practitioners should monitor substantial gaps between students' expectations and experiences, and how both affect academic achievement. And then students should research their intended major and career title to ensure their personalities are congruent with the future work environment. And the best way to do that is to visit Bureau of Labor Statistics, type in your intended career title. So if your major is accounting, then your intended career title is accountant. And then look at the different tabs: summary, how to become one, work environment. And so if you look at the two tabs, how to become one and work environment, it's going to give you the personality necessary for you to do that type of job. The work environment alone will tell you what you need to do. All right, so here's your entry, your works cited MLA entry here. This is a how to format for periodicals, articles in magazines, journals, newspaper. Um, this article may not be accessible to you, but you should have a link to it, or you should have a downloadable document. But this is the entry for it.